Hi there. This episode is about seeding life. Now, in other words, it's the process of taking life from one planet or moon to a planet or moon in the universe that's different, that doesn't have life, and you're bringing life to it. And this process can be done naturally through comets and things like that, whereas microbes can hitch a ride. You're not, of course, going to have a dinosaur hitching a ride, but microbes certainly can. That's proven that they are certainly have the ability to. They're robust enough, and then boom, there you go. Because one of the biggest problems of life is that you need, if you don't have it, in order to get it started, it's not all that simple to just go from nothing to something. It's something that it's still a bit mysterious, and you almost need just the right things and luck. Whereas if you get a comet that has microbes on it, and it brings it there, then boom, all of a sudden it's there, and then can start evolving into other stuff, and be terraforming the planet in the process. So yeah, bringing life is a lot more simple than having life just naturally come up. And so when it's a lot more simple, that means it can happen to planets that never would have had life on them at all had it not been for seeding life. And it can happen quicker, so even a planet would have had life on it anyway, it can bring life far quicker potentially. Now, there's the debate between atheists and religious people. This is one of the reasons I bring it up. Now, in a debate, there are two sides. Is there a mysterious God that created life, or did we spring up from nothing right here? Mysteriously absent is the whole thing about seeding life. Not just natural, but say, did advanced species seed life on this planet? And potentially, could an advanced enough of an alien species or a civilization, could it have created this universe? Now, I happen to know for a fact, because you may think it's a little odd or unbelievable, but I did work with civilizations that did honestly create this universe and did seed life here. There's a lot of technologies where they get advanced enough where they can speed up the processes. You get natural processes, they actually speed it up to where it looks like it's going to be, say, 14 billion, but it doesn't, like, it is still a long amount of time, but it's not quite that much. So yeah, advanced civilizations do exist. They have seeded life here, and that is how it's done. But going back to the theory behind it, is the debates. Typically, to the debates, the possibility of an alien species creating a seeding life here is just absurd. Why is it absurd? It's not because of the objective possibilities of it. It's quite simply because when you're in a debate, anything other than what you're debating seems absurd. And this is a known fact in how debates work. You get more and more personally invested the longer the debate goes on. And the two different sides, whatever side you're supporting, it really doesn't matter who made up the viewpoints. Once you're defending them, they become yours, and you become so personally invested, you do become blind to anything else. And so understand that when you are in a debate like that for a long time, when you've defended one side or the other, there is a thing where you're going to naturally just say, well, it can't possibly that's ridiculous. And you will honestly think that it's ridiculous and it couldn't have happened. Though, remember, that's a bias. It's a bias that happens because you were arguing something that's different for so long. And this wasn't even in the list. So, there you go. So, getting back to this, if you take your biases out of the equation, look at some of the other videos I did about why advanced life is actually very probable. Probably because we live in an infinite existence. But once you have an alien civilization, let's go straight to that theory. Why would you want to seed things at all? Well, why? Well, quite simply, for safety, because your civilization is growing, so you don't get wiped out. It's like, well, why would we farm? Because why would we farm? Why don't we fire all our farmers and just let nature grow what it grows? Something's going to grow there, right? It's an environment. It's going to rain. There's going to be plants there, right? Why don't we just rely on whatever grows there. Well, quite simply because whatever grows there is not going to be edible. It's not going to be something that we want. And so in order to live, we need to farm places to get what we want. And like, even if it's not eating, even if it's like flowers, if we want flowers, we're going to have to grow them. Likewise, for planets, one of the big questions is it going to have life? Well, seeding life skips that problem, doesn't it? The question isn't, does it have life or is it habitable? The question is, could it be habitable? And how much work would it take? So let's look at the planets in our solar system. Mars, could it be habitable? Yes. How much work would it take? A bit, but it's reasonable and realistic for the level of technology that we have. You could very well have, in 500 years from now, a Mars with some water and maybe breathable air on it. It is in the realm of possibilities, and if not 500, maybe 1,000 years from now. But it is a distinct possibility. What about Venus? Well, Venus is something that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Now, I do know a technology that the alien civilizations have called bi-leveling that could quite honestly get Venus livable within the year. Completely livable. It's just like Earth if they wanted to. I know they have the technology for a fact, and I know how a bit of how it works. So, but skipping past Venus, let's go to an example of primitive Earth. Say we went to a solar system that had a primitive Earth, but minus any life. That life just didn't get started there. Well, all you would have to do simply is just throw the right microbial life. It's going to start transforming the planet by turning carbon dioxide into oxygen and whatnot. Start throwing plants that are just the right ones. And again, here's the point. If you're seeding life, you're creating planets that have the characteristics that you want on them. It's somewhat part of the terraforming process in many ways. It is helping to change a planet that was just a barren rock into a planet that is compatible with what you want. And that means that if you want it as an emergency location, where if this planet has a problem, I'm just going to go in a bunch of spaceships and go head on out to the other one. There you go. It's already and waiting. Or, maybe you'll use it for yourself. That is why you seed life. Another reason why you seed life is, what about humanity here? Why would people have just started humanity and left? Well, quite frankly, the reason I know them and the reason why they did it is there was a history of both natural disasters and war. And either one could wipe out a civilization. And quite simply, you don't have time to sit there and have a bunch of kids. Time is one of the things. If you just sit there and have kids and train them to be part of your civilization, that's really time intensive. Whereas if you basically start life here, do a little bit of tending and some genetic engineering, and then boom, put your species as you want it here, the modern human species, in just the right way, then they're not going to know any different. They're going to think it's natural. But you can do that for literally hundreds of different planets or thousands of different planets in a time where you would not have been able to populate that same amount with your own children that you're raising. And so that's quite simply the honest fact. It is a population boom that is unrivaled by any natural means of conception. It's something that if you want to spread humanity in the farthest regions possible, in the most planets possible, that's how you do it. And that makes humanity more robust. It makes it more likely that nothing can wipe us out. And as well as eventually you get civilizations out of some of them, which can help manage the universe as well. So that's why, and that's what it is, and it is a fact. We were seeded. It is an absolute fact. When we get advanced enough, you'll know.